This is what it looks like when you mix 90s nostalgia with your personal fear of loss, but if it was totally adorable. Hey everyone, I'm Akiri and I sculpt weird, cute things because we're floating on a strange rock through space and they both make absolutely no sense, which is fantastic. Starting off with a new trick for making your forms if you're using ceramic clay or air dry clay, because the form needs to be removable with these kinds of clay for shrinkage and or kiln firing purposes, but you don't want flippy floppy clay while you're trying to just get it to stand up properly. It allows you to beat it into whatever shape you like before removing the form, which is super helpful. It's just knee-high stocking pantyhose you can get at the dollar store and this week's newspaper. If you want to make it even smoother, you can wet down your newspaper a bit before stuffing your stocking, then leave it in the sun or to air dry completely before using it because mold is real and ew. Cover the part you aren't working on so it doesn't dry unevenly. Back with my super secret cherry sauce to stick on the eyeballs, which is actually just vinegar. I'm pretty worried at this point that the porcelain clay on the front is not going to match the porcelain clay of his faceplate, but we're using a practice of just cross your fingers here. That's pretty much what I do for all of my sculptures. My favorite part was probably working on the details for the little poly pocket inside. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do at first, but I just got caught up in the details and lo and behold, here we are with a graveyard. Silicone detailing tools will make your sculpting life a lot easier, and I've got my favorites linked. So let's ignore the gates at the beginning because those did not make the final cut, but now we're working on some stairs and all of these details were super fun. If yours looks a little bit wonk, don't worry, you can smooth everything out with this kind of clay with either water on your paintbrush or vinegar on your paintbrush. So I'm just giving some extra little details. Don't forget, if your art looks weird or like you're just not loving it, you just need more details. That's it. Making these bushes was a practice in faith because I did not know how I was going to create foliage from clay, but the needle tool saved the day. Had to add some cute little grave markers because they're adorable, and a couple tiny little ghost friends because we all need friends in the afterlife. And I like to imagine that it's just going to be one big party, preferably in somebody's mansion here on Earth so that we can haunt them and dance around in the attic at all hours. I didn't attach any of the ghosts on the top or the bottom, so it'd be easier to paint behind them and glue them on later with wear repair. So did I measure absolutely any of this? No, I didn't. Did I just eyeball it? Yep, that's pretty much what I do all the time. So if I have any helpful tips for just eyeballing it is do the part that's hardest for you. So for me, that's the left side. Do that first and make it look good because it's always easier to make your dominant side look like the non-dominant side. But if you, it's always harder for me to make things look good on the left, but I can always match the right to the left. So the cool thing with clay, which I love so much, is if at first you don't like your design, you can just smooth some water or some vinegar over top, probably water, and it will just disappear. It's kind of like an eraser. It's great. When you're drawing on detail with a tool, try to push in and compact as you go instead of dragging your tool. You'll get less extra bits raised up to deal with. So here we are sculpting some new gates for the front because I looked at my real Polly Pocket. I've got the Addams Family version. It's super cute. And I realized that the front is like an opening. So I had to redo the gates, which was totally fine because I didn't like the other ones. And I gave them some cute little detail and working on some windows. This is just like the easiest way for me to do straight lines. And if you etch in your lines, when you're painting later, it just helps you get the straight lines with your paint so much easier if you're making things teeny tiny. So when I wanted to make some stained glass, I should have probably researched how to do it with paint, but I just went for it and it turned out really good. So if you're looking at this wondering if I'm a little bit crazy and if it'll work, it does. As you saw at the beginning, it does work. It does look really good, especially when you put like a clear coat over top of it. So I think I used 3 colors in the stained glass. You can use whatever colors you want. I just wanted to get something that was different than the color of the window frames. This wash away technique is easiest on dry clay. You can't wipe too hard or it'll smear clay over your paint. So another detail for painting that I suggest is if you're going to paint like a wide expanse of something, use multiple colors so it looks like it's got depth and variation. The weird thing with using underglaze, like ceramic underglaze, is that it's not the color that it will be in the end when you paint it on. And that's why, as you're watching this, it looks a little bit off. But if you're using like Sculpey and acrylic paint, obviously you don't have the same problem. Detail, detail, detail. Just remember, if you're going to cover your sculpture detail in glaze or resin, etc., make your details a bit deeper so they aren't totally lost after the glaze. So here we are, fully fired after the kiln. I had originally planned on sticking these pom-poms in between the ceramic version of the pom-poms because I just wanted to help lend a hand as to what you're actually looking at, because it's really hard to make ceramic or porcelain look fuzzy. I tried with the tinfoil, but here we are. That's why I left some gaps in between the ceramic pom-poms to be able to fit these little guys, and I think it turned out so good. He's very cute. He's gonna sit on my shelf and not creep me out at all, and hopefully help me with my fear of loss. What do you think? Would you put this guy on your shelf?